Good morning, dear students, and I am happy to welcome you all to today's botany class. So, today's class will be about sexual reproduction in plants. So, what is the topic for today? Sexual reproduction in plants. It is the continuation of chapter 2. So, how a plant can reproduce sexually, you will be learning in this class. In your last year itself, in grade 7 itself, you have studied about asexual reproduction in plants, right? So, this year you will be learning about the sexual reproduction in plants. So, before that, let's learn some properties of flowers. Why flowers? Because flowers are the reproductive organs in a plant. Clear? So, which part of the plant will involve in reproduction? It is going to be the flowers only. Neither branches nor leaves or roots are going to involve in reproduction. Only the flowers are going to be involved in reproduction, especially in sexual reproduction. That's why it is called the reproductive organ of the plant. Which is the reproductive organ? Flowers are the reproductive organs. In human beings and other animals all, if you see, there will be male and female, right? And male will be having male reproductive organ and female will be having female reproductive organ, right? But in the case of plants, there are two types of plants. This also you must have studied in your previous classes. Let's recall. Clear? In a plant can be a bisexual plant or a unisexual plant. Say for example, I think this example most of you must be knowing. If you have a papaya plant in your home, maybe your parents or your neighbors will be talking about this, asking, is it a male plant or a female plant? Because just like human beings, in papaya plants and some other plants, there are gender differentiation. There are male plants and there are female plants. Why do they call so? Because they will produce a male flower, some will produce a female flower. That is called unisexual plants or unisexual flowers. What did I tell you? If a plant can be differentiated per gender, just like the human beings, it is called the unisexual plant, because that plant will be having only either a male flower or a female flower. But in other cases, in some plants, both the genders, both the gametes will be present in the same plant. In that cases, it is called a bisexual plant or a bisexual flower. Clear? But here we are going to learn about a bisexual flower. Example is hibiscus. Here the reproductive organs, that is the male gamete as well as the female gamete, is present in the same flower. If I take a flower, I can find male gamete as well as the female gamete. The male reproductive organ as well as the female reproductive part is present inside the same flower in the case of plants. But in human beings, you have a male separately and female separately. Here a flower itself will be holding the male gamete and the female gamete, which is going to fuse and give a product. Clear? So that is how sexual reproduction in plants happen. So as I told you, the flower will hold both the male gametes and the female gametes. One flower can hold both gametes and these two gametes will fuse together. Clear? When we learn the parts of the flower in detail, I will tell you more about male gametes and female gametes. For now, just keep in mind, male gamete and female gamete is present in the same flower and both of them are going to fuse together. What will happen if they fuse? You will get a product, right? See, in the case of human beings all, the product of, what is product? Product means the output or the outcome. If some process is happening, there should be an output or the end product. No, for something only some process is happening. Say for example, if there is sexual reproduction in human beings, the product formed is the baby, a small baby is formed, right? Similarly, in the case of plants, there are two products formed out of sexual reproduction. If there is going to be sexual reproduction in plants, there will be two products formed. What are those two products? One is called seeds and the next one is called fruits. Seeds and fruits are the products of sexual reproduction in a plant. Only for the formation of fruits or seeds, this process is happening in the plants. Clear? Then we learn about the parts of a flower. What are all the different parts of a flower? We learn in this slide, not in this slide, in the upcoming slides we will be learning. So before learning the parts, you should know two more terms. One is called pedicel and the next one is called thalamus. Pedicel and thalamus. Have you heard this word, pedicel and thalamus? What is pedicel? The stalk of a flower is called the pedicel. What is stalk? You have a stick-like structure like this, no? So this is the pedicel. This stick-like structure is called the pedicel of the flower. This stick-like structure which can connect the flower with the stem is called the pedicel. Clear? And as I told you, the function of pedicel, this pedicel will connect this flower with the stem. It is connected to the stem, right? It is not floating somewhere. The flower is always connected to the stem. Which one connects? The stalk or the stick-like structure which connects the flower with the stem is called the pedicel. Are you clear about this term? Next we learn one more term called thalamus. This stick-like structure, that is the pedicel or the stalk, is swollen in some region. What is swollen? It means it is bulky in some region. Which region? Can you see this region being bulky? So this region of the stalk is swollen or it is bigger in size when compared to this. This is all very thin, right? It is like a stick. Whereas this region alone is bulky or swollen in nature. So the part of the pedicel which is swollen has another name. What is that name? It is called as thalamus. What is the name? Thalamus. So what is thalamus? The swollen pedicel is called thalamus. Okay, clear? So actually it is also the pedicel, but this region alone is bigger in size when compared to the other stalk regions. So that swollen region is called thalamus. It is convex in shape. What is concave and convex? In physics all you must be studying about concave and convex mirrors, right? What is concave? Concave is something which is going to be hollow. If this structure is there, it is called concave. Convex means it will be this way. A bulky region is concave. So vessels or if you have a bowl, it is usually concave in shape. It is like a hollow shape. Bowls are all concave. Convex is, it is bulky. Bulky ones are called convex. Since it is this way, it is called as convex shape. So the thalamus is a swollen pedicel and its shape is convex. And then the thalamus is a region where all the floral parts are around. You have whorls of floral parts arranged. Whorls means just like surrounding the circumference of the thalamus only, you will have all the floral parts. Which floral parts? Say for example, this part is around the, actually see this is only shown 2 in number. There are this flower itself, no, it is the cross section. Cross section means if I take a flower and cut it equally into half like this, then it is called the cross section. If I make one cut equally, I will get 2 pieces. If I am going to cut this way, no, will I get 2 pieces? If I cut horizontally, I will not get 2 pieces because this part will be having petals, but this part will be having only the pedicel and the thalamus, right? So not this way, but like this way. If I cut it vertically, I will get 2 equal portions, no? So because this is cut and it is shown, we have only 2 and 3 of the petals and sepals. Clear? So what did I tell you? Yeah, all of the floral parts are arranged in whorls around this thalamus. Say for example, the petals are all arranged around the thalamus. The sepals are all arranged around the thalamus. So, all floral parts or whorls are arranged around the thalamus. Okay, so this also you have to remember. So, what have we learnt in this slide? There is something called as pedicel, which is the pedicel, the stalk of the flower which can connect the flower to the stem is called the pedicel. And then there is one more part called thalamus. This thalamus is the swollen pedicel. And what is the function of the thalamus? All the floral parts are arranged in whorls around the thalamus. So, this is about pedicel and thalamus. Now, let us learn about the 4 parts of a flower. What are the 4 main parts of a flower? The 4 main parts include calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. What are the 4 parts of a flower? 4 main parts include calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. What are they? Calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. So, in this slide we learn about the calyx. What is calyx? Calyx can be referred to as the outermost whorl of a flower. What does this mean? This means that all other parts of the flowers, say for example the petals or the stamen or the filaments, every other part will be inside this part only, which is the calyx. This is the calyx, the leaf-like portion, no, that is the calyx. So, all other parts are inside this region only. So, the outermost whorl will be the calyx. So, this is the calyx. This is the calyx region. All others are inside the calyx. Individual calyx is called the sepal, which means totally all these leaf-like structures are called as calyx, and one unit, that is individual unit, one calyx alone is called by the term sepal. So, this is a sepal. And many sepals, all the sepals together is called by the term calyx. Can you understand? This green leaf-like portion is calyx and one of it is called sepal, and all the sepals together is called by the term calyx. Clear? So, the description of sepal, how was the sepal? It is green in color. Anything green in color is mostly made up of the pigment called as chlorophyll, and it can undergo the property of photosynthesis. Say for example, algae are all green in color, right? So, they can also carry out photosynthesis. Similarly, these sepals are also green in color and they can also undergo a process called as photosynthesis, and usually they are 5 or more in number. Why do you see only 2 here? I told you already, this is the cross section. The flower, when it is cut, it will appear this way. That is why it is 2 in number. Otherwise, it is 5 or more in number. Which one? The number of sepals are 5 or more in number, and all sepals together is called by the word calyx. Clear? And it protects the flower or the bud. Usually in a bud condition, all in a rose bud, all you must have seen these sepals or calyx totally covering the bud. So, sepal is the one which will cover the bud so that the bud or the flower is protected, especially in the initial days before it is fully bloomed. Clear? So, what have we studied in this slide? There are 4 parts of the flower. They are called as calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium, and the outermost whorl in a flower is the calyx because it exists outside and all other parts will be inside the whorl of the calyx. So, totally the green leaf-like portions are called as calyx, and individual unit, only one of them you can call it as sepal. So, many sepals together make calyx, or else individual units of calyx is called as sepal. They are leaf-like in structure. They are usually 5 or more in number, and their function is they protect the flower as well as the bud, and since they are green in color, they can undergo the process of photosynthesis. So this is all about calyx. Next we learn about corolla and petals. So in calyx, what did we study? Totally the leaf-like portions are called as calyx, and individual unit is called as sepal, right? Similarly here, individually this is called one petal, this is one petal, and this is one petal. This you will be knowing, right? All of us know that these are petals. Okay, so many petals together is called by the word corolla. So individual unit is called as petal. So this is a petal. So this is a petal, and together all the petals together they are called by the word corolla. So all the petals together is called as corolla, and one individual unit alone, this alone you can call it as petal. Clear? Do you know the difference between the petal and corolla now? Are you clear? Okay, now we will learn the properties of corolla and petals. See, corolla can be defined as the second whorl of the flower. Which is the first whorl? This is the first whorl, no? The calyx is the first whorl or the outermost whorl, and inside that only all other parts is present. So the second whorl is the corolla, which means a group of petals. So first whorl, second whorl. Whorl means just like a circle, they arrange themselves, but the outermost one is the calyx, and the innermost, not innermost, second to the outermost is the corolla or the petals. So that's why it is called the second whorl. And then, as I told you, what is corolla? It is a ring of petals or many petals together is called corolla. And about the petals we all know it, just will look into the characteristics. Petals are usually brightly colored. The colors usually, all the flowers are very bright, no? Either yellow color or red color. So the colors are usually bright, and they are scented. What is scent? Scent means sweet smell, right? Usually flowers have a very sweet smell. What are the properties? They are large usually when compared to the leaves and other structures of the plant. The flowers are usually larger in size, and they are showy. What is showy? Showy means it is attractive, it is good to see, it is beautiful to see. Okay, and they have nectar. What is nectar? Nectar is the sweet liquid present inside the flower. Which one drinks nectar? The honeybee all connects nectar from flowers, right? So where is the nectar? See, if you have tears in your eye, it is produced by tear gland, right? If you have saliva in the mouth, it is produced by salivary gland. Similarly, the nectar is produced by a gland, and the name of the gland is called nectaries. What is the name of the gland? It is called as nectaries. Clear? So this is all about corolla and petals. So next we learn about the male and the female gametes, that is the androecium and gynoecium. So androecium is the male reproductive organ. So which is the male reproductive organ? Androecium. So this androecium has two parts, namely the anther and the filament. Androecium is made up of anther and filament. Which is the anther? This is the anther. There are two yellow color regions. Now I will draw and show you. Can you see a structure like this? So this is the anther. Clear? And can you see a long slender structure like this? This is the filament. Okay. So anther, and filament, androecium. So together these two are called the male reproductive gamete or the structure. So anther and filament together is the androecium, which is the male reproductive organ. So now we learn certain properties of anther and filament. Clear? So anther, usually it is found at the tip. In the androecium, what did I tell you? Anther and filament together is the androecium, right? So in the androecium, the anther is found at the tip. The anther is found at the tip, and if you see, it is dust like. Have you seen in hibiscus flower, you call it as shoe flower, you have yellow round ball like structures. Have you seen? In the upcoming slides I will show you, for your activity I will show you, that time you can see also. So they are usually called as pollen grains. The round yellow ball like structures in a hibiscus flower is called the pollen grains, or it is described as dust like. It appears like a dust, right? So they will have, the anther will have the male reproductive cells. Because it is a male reproductive organ, it is all made up of reproductive cells, which is called male reproductive cells, or you can also call it as male reproductive gamete. So this is the, I told you already in the introduction part, a single flower will be having both the male reproductive part as well as the female reproductive part, right? So the male reproductive part is called androecium, which is made up of the anther and the filament. So description about the anther, it is usually found at the tip of the androecium, and it is made up of pollen grains. This yellow structure, no, usually in a hibiscus flower, it will appear like a circle. You cannot see like two partitions as I have drawn. You cannot see like this in a hibiscus flower. You can see only like a round ball, right? So this is called the pollen grains, and pollen grains are made up of male reproductive cells. So this is about the description of anther. About the description of filaments, nothing. It is a stalk-like structure which is very long and also slender, very thin and long is the description for filament. Just the filament will hold the anther at the tip, and the filament and anther together is called by the term androecium. So this is about the male reproductive organ. Next we learn about the female reproductive organ. So the name of the female reproductive organ is gynoecium, and gynoecium is made up of three parts called style, stigma and ovary. So male reproductive part androecium was made up of two parts we have learnt, right? What are they? Anther and filament. Whereas in gynoecium it is made up of three parts called style, stigma and ovary. Now I will show you where these parts are. Where is the style, stigma and ovary in this flower? Can you see a slender stalk like structure here? Can you see a slender stalk like structure? This is called as the style. This is called as the style. Which one? This slender stalk like structure is called as the style. Then stigma. Can you see such flower like structure here? This is called as stigma. What is this called? Stigma. Which is the style? This is the style. And this is the stigma. Style and stigma. Where is the ovary? Can you see a swollen structure down? So this swollen structure is the ovary. So style, stigma and ovary are the three parts of the female reproductive system in a plant. Okay, so now the description of the style. How is the style? It is a stalk like structure. How a pedicel you studied, no? Similarly, for a female reproductive organ, the stalk or stick like structure is the style. It is elongated, it is very long. So it is described as it is elongated. Then it is tube like, it is elongated and tube like, and it is connected to the stigma. So which is the stigma? This is the stigma, right? So the style is connected to the stigma, and then to the ovary. It is a connection agent, that is an intermediate which connects the stigma with the ovary. Clear? So, this style, that is the slender structure, will connect the stigma with the ovary. That is what they have meant. Clear? So, it is a stalk elongated tube-like structure. Style is a stalk elongated tube-like structure which can connect the stigma with the ovary. Clear? This is about style. And then about the stigma. The stigma usually has a sticky substance. It has a fluid-like substance which will attract the pollen grains. See, suppose if there is water on the floor, easily dust all will be trapped on that when compared to the dry floor, right? So, similarly, whenever there is a sticky substance on the stigma, that is a sticky liquid like fluid on the stigma, suppose if wind carries pollen grains, easily it can be trapped to the sticky substance. So, fertilization is fusion between the pollen grains and the stigma. Clear? So, since this is sticky in nature, it will easily attract the pollen grains, and also you can see it is swollen in structure. This is a slender or a long tube, whereas the ovary is swollen as well as the stigma is also swollen in nature. It is bigger in size when compared to this tube-like structure. That's what they have meant. It is swollen, and also as I told you, it can receive the pollen grains. I told you, in hibiscus flower there are yellow small ball-like structures. They are the pollen grains, right? So if it happens to touch the stigma, it receives easily, it is attracted easily to pollen. And ovary, as I told you already, ovary just like the stigma, it is also swollen, but it is in the base of the flower. Where can you find ovary? It is in the base of the female reproductive organ. And then this will contain ovule. Can you see a structure here? Can you see a structure here? This is called the ovule. So inside the ovary you will have ovule. Inside the ovary you will have a structure called as ovule, this one. Clear? So what all you have studied about female reproductive structure? Female reproductive organ in a flower has three parts called style, stigma and ovary. So style, stigma and ovary. The style is a stalk-like structure which is elongated and it is tube-like, and it is the agent that connects the stigma with the ovary. And stigma, it is generally sticky in nature, it is swollen and it can easily receive the pollen grains. And finally ovary, it is the swollen and it is base of the female reproductive organ, and it contains ovule. And the ovule for fertilization, okay. See, I told you pollen plus stigma will undergo fertilization, that is the male gamete and the female gamete will undergo fertilization, right. After fertilization, what all happens? After fertilization, there is changes in the ovary, like the petals all, once there is fertilization, the petals will fall off, the sepals will fall off, everything will fall off. The remaining one will be the ovary. Which is the ovary? This is the ovary, right? I will draw it up big. So now this ovary will become the fruit. The ovary is going to become the fruit after fertilization. Okay, this ovary will become bigger and bigger in size, and that is what is becoming fruit after the fertilization process. And this ovule, you have ovules inside, and this one after fertilization is going to become seeds. Which will become seeds? The ovule inside the ovary, this will become the seed. That is what is meant. Ovule after fertilization will become the seed, whereas ovary after fertilization is becoming the fruit. Okay, all other remaining parts will fall off after fertilization. Only the ovary will become the fruit and ovule will become the seed. So this will be the product of fertilization, about which in your higher grades you will learn more in detail. So for this lesson, just you are learning the parts of the flower. So I told you ovary after fertilization will become the fruit. Now, one more concept is there. I told you during the introduction part, there are two types of flowers. In papaya plant, I told you, some papaya plants are called as male and some as female. So, during that time, what did I tell you? There are certain plants which are called as, there are two types of flowers called bisexual flowers and unisexual flowers, or you can call the plant itself as bisexual plant and unisexual plant. So, in a bisexual plant, you will have both androecium and gynoecium. Okay, both androecium and gynoecium is present. This is the bisexual flower. So, this is a bisexual flower. So, where is the androecium here? So, you can find androecium here, right? Where is the gynoecium? Gynoecium is here again. So, this is a bisexual flower because it has both androecium and gynoecium. Androecium is present as well as gynoecium is present. So, I can call it as a bisexual flower. A single flower will have androecium as well as gynoecium. In this case, this is called the unisexual flower because in a unisexual flower, only a male organ, that is the androecium, is present, or only the female organ, that is the gynoecium, is present. Say for example, see this flower, what is present in this flower? Only the androecium is present. Androecium is present. Where is the gynoecium? Gynoecium is absent in this, right? So, this is a unisexual flower because only one sex, that is the male, is present. See this flower, here can you see androecium? No, androecium is absent, but you can see gynoecium here. Gynoecium is present in this flower. Again it is called unisexual flower because only one sex is present, that is the female reproductive gamete is alone present. So, this is also called as unisexual flower, whereas this one is called bisexual flower because in a single flower you can find both the androecium as well as the gynoecium. So, these are the two types of flowers. Examples for bisexual and unisexual flowers are given. Examples for bisexual flowers are hibiscus and mustard. So, in hibiscus plant and mustard plant, you can find bisexual flowers, whereas in papaya plant or cucumber plant, you can find only unisexual flowers. Either the male is androecium is present or the gynoecium is present in the case of papaya and cucumber plants. So, these are about the two types of plants or flowers. Clear? So, today what you are going to do is, after watching this video, you are going to do an activity. So, now we have studied the parts of the flowers, right? All the parts you know. About the dissection, you can also dissect and watch under dissection microscope. So, once you come to school, after these corona days, or once you return to school, I will take you to the biology lab and you are going to dissect under the dissecting microscope. Okay, you need needles, or you need a zoom glass, and under a microscope you can see it in a bigger size. For now, your activity is not dissection, you are going to do something else. So, you are going to collect this flower. Hope you would have seen this flower. This is called hibiscus flower. Clear? So, collect 2 hibiscus flowers. Are you listening? Collect 2. Each one of you will have 2 hibiscus flowers, and you are going to take a A4 size paper, or if you have a white chart or a thicker sheet of paper, you can use that also. Clear? So, take a flower and remove all the petals. Remove off these petals and arrange like this. Okay? And what you will do, and then you are going to label as this as petals. Okay, above that you write petals, and you need not stick all, just you can keep on the sheet of paper. Okay, so petals you have removed. Then what you are going to do, in the lowermost region of the flower you will have like this a structure. What is this called? We have studied this is sepal or calyx. No, together it is called, one is called sepal, together it is called calyx. So you are going to label this as, what is this sepal or calyx? This is calyx, right? So you are going to label it as calyx. And then what you are going to do? You have a stem for the flower, no? The stalk of the flower. What is that called? That is called as pedicel, right? So which is the pedicel? This is the pedicel. So you are going to label this as pedicel. Okay. Then from the first flower, what you are going to do is, see, in this region, in the top region, you will have a soft velvet like structure you will have. What is this? This is nothing but, this is stigma. This is the stigma. Clear? We have studied about stigma, no? And this is the androecium, the yellow color one, no? This is the androecium. Do not take this. First, what you are going to do is, at the topmost region, you will have a soft velvet like structure. This one you will have. So just remove that. Do not cut it. Do not cut like this. Don't cut like this. Do not do that. I need it fully. So from inside you have to remove. That's why I asked you to take 2 flowers. In the first flower, what you are going to do? You are going to remove the whole length. So gently if you remove, you will get the full piece as such. Okay, till the bottom of the what is that? The thalamus region. No, until that region I need. Clear? So you are going to remove that and place this and label it as gynoecium. So until the ovary you need to take. So in the bottom you will have a bulb like structure. Until that I need. Clear? Starting from the silky region till the bulb like region I need. So it is the gynoecium. And then in the next flower I asked you to take 2 flowers, no? From the next flower take this portion. The yellow color pollen grains you have, no? So from this region till the bottom you will remove. Okay, don't take this, just throw this in the second flower, throw the stigma all out and then collect only the pollen grains till the bottom, the long tube you will collect and place it here and label it as androecium. Okay, so do like this and then take a picture and send me. Clear? This is your activity for today. Do this, only then practically you will know what you are learning. Simply if you memorize androecium, gynoecium, style, stigma, all, nothing will be in your mind forever. But if you do this once, no, lifelong, you will, when you see a flower, you will know to differentiate the parts of the flower thoroughly. Okay, so please do this for today's activity and send me. Let me see how many of you are doing this. Okay, and for today's homework, you are going to read, do this activity also and also read from pages 38 to 40 what we have studied today. No, please read this thoroughly. In the upcoming week, you will be having a test. I will announce the date later. After I complete this lesson, you will be having a class test. So keep reading your daily portion so that it is easy for you for your class test or your other exams. Okay, so this is all for today's class, and until I meet you in one more zoology class, you all take care and bye bye.